Hello everybody, my name is Mehdi Kordnavasi and this is the 5 movie of the chapter 3 outlining the structure of ITIL or Information Technology Infrastructure Library. In this I will explain about the service desk. In short, the service desk fixes a technical fault, fulfills a service request, answers queries, and helps users to return to work. The list of things that the service desk does is very long, but the following give you some ideas. Log incidents and service requests, and allocate, categorize, and priorities. Provide first-line investigation and diagnosis. Resolve incidents and service requests where possible. Escalate incidents and service requests to other parties to resolve with agreed timescales. Keep users informed of progress and close all resolved incidents, service requests, and other calls. And the last, conduct satisfaction surveys. The physical structure of the service desk must match the needs of the business. You have to make a decision here. If you have users at more than one site, do they need their own service desk at each site? Or will they be happy to phone a centralized service desk? ITIL makes a few suggestions for the structure of your service desk. You can choose between 4 structures. The first, local service desk. A desk is physically located near the users. This most likely means that if you have more than one user site, you have several service desks on at each site. Centralized service desk. A single service desk at a single fixed location serves users at multiple sites. The next is virtual service desk. The physical location is invisible to the user. The service desks appear to be a centralized service desk, but the users don't actually know where the service desk is. In truth, there are many service desks, possibly scattered geographically, and the user's calls are distributed to different service desks in some way. The calls may be routed by the type of help needed, the language of the user, the site the user is ringing from, the length of the queue at each service desk, and the time of day. A virtual service desk relies on good use of tools and technology to make sure the calls get to the right place and that the calls are properly logged and shared with the appropriate staff. Follow the thumb service desk is another type. This is a type of virtual service desk where the calls are routed by the time of day. So if my IT organization has sites in several countries, I can use these locations to provide a 24/7 desk service. As an example, using UK time between 8 and 18, the service desk calls will be dealt with in the UK. Between 18 and 0 at the midnight, calls are dealt with the USA. Between the 0 and 8 a.m., they're dealt with India, for example. Staffs are cheaper to employ when they are awake or when the sun is up. So it makes sense to route the calls to staff in these countries.
There are different organizational structures that can be applied to the service desk. There's the local service desk, the centralized service desk, or a virtual service desk that can follow the sun. Each of these have different levels of maturities and are appropriate for different organizations, and each organization must decide what's the appropriate organizational structure for their service desk. In a local service desk, the service desk is co-located with the user community it serves. This is oftentimes desk-side or on-site support. Generally, smaller organizations have local service desks where the service and support staff sit in the same building or location as the user. A centralized service desk, on the other hand, consolidates support into a single location to support multiple business customers and users. This oftentimes, as the service desk capacity grows and more incidents and requests are logged, there's economies of scales that can be gained by centralizing the service desk and providing a central point for all of the call center agents to sit, answer the phone, and work incidents and process requests for organizations across locations. They also provide the escalation path to technical management, application management, and third-party support. Likewise, a virtual service desk appears to be a centralized service desk to the users, but through the use of technology, personnel may be spread across a number of locations. Very large organizations may have service desks in Europe, the United States, and Asia, and over time, as the day continues, calls are routed to where the staff is on duty. To the user community, they're dialing the same phone number or contacting the service desk in the same way through a web interface. However, through the virtualization of the service desk and technology, the call is routed to where it is most likely to be served. This allows for capacity management of calls, as well as the ability of people to work when it's daytime in their time zone. There are several things that should be considered when it comes to the service desk. This includes staffing levels that are based on the incident and request types, the number of users, support hours, and the support technologies available. Staffing levels is not a trivial decision because different organizations with the same number of users may have very different demand profiles upon their service desk depending on the technology architectures and the resiliency in place. The skill levels required and whether or not to outsource are all considerations that have to be considered as part of the service desk strategy. Education and training requirements, staff retention, the role of the super user, and how we measure service desk performance are all considerations that must be taken into account in order to have an effective service desk.
This table outlines the pros and cons of each type of service desk to help you determine the best fit for your organization or client. Look at the table. In the local, the process service desk staff are more likely to have better knowledge of the staff and the business activities that happen at that site, or user may be able to physically visit the service desk and ask for help. And the cons for this type is users may think they can jump the queue by walking into the service desk office and standing by a service analyst desk. This is not always the best use of the resources. For example, if you have 6 service desks, each supporting a site of a different size, you may have to provide a staff to be at each desk the whole time, but they may not be busy for all that time dealing with calls. In this type, experience and details of resolutions are not shared. Resolved issues may not be communicated to the other service desks unless good process and systems are put in place. Several service desks may resolve the same incident independently and therefore duplicate effort. In the centralized process, you can gain the benefit of economies of scale. Issues and details of resolution are more likely to be shared, therefore providing better services. And the problem is the service desk may lack the local knowledge that you sometimes get from a local service desk. In a virtual type, the process can make use of home workers and technologies such as self-help websites where users can log their own issues. And the cons is the technology can be complex and difficult to get right. And in the follow the sun or another type of virtual, make good use of local resources and therefore is sometimes a relatively low-cost solution. And the problem is this approach relies on technology again. Good escalation and handover procedures are required for this type of the service list. Let's talk about the managing the day-to-day stuff or IT operations management. IT operations management consists of the staff that do the day-to-day tasks that keep the IT infrastructure and IT service going. This, of course, has to be done to meet the service levels that are agreed with the business. Actually, they have a dual role. First, responsible for executing the activities and performance standards defined during service design and tested during service transition, and that means maintaining the stability of the IT infrastructure and the consistency of the IT services. And the second role is a part of the process of adding value to the business by being able continually to adapt to business requirements and demand. This is a bit of balancing act. On the one hand, nothing must go wrong and the infrastructure must be as stable as possible. And on the other hand, the infrastructure and the staff must be able to adapt to the changing needs of the business. A bit of tricky one. And let's considering the team and skills. In order to achieve a balance between stability and adaptability, the IT operations management team needs the following: an understanding of how technology is used to provide IT services, an understanding of the relative importance of the service and their impact on the business, clearly differentiate metrics to report to the business on the achievement of service objectives. IT operations staff who understand exactly how the performance of the technology affects the delivery of the IT service, and the procedures and manuals that outline the rule of IT operations. Let's looking at typical activities in order to distinguish between IT operations management and the other functions. It's useful to consider the sort of activities that IT operations management will get involved with. Activities comprises. The first is delivering and measuring the value of the service. The next is ensuring that a device or system is actually working. The third is focusing on shorter-term, repetitive day-to-day activities. And the last, turning plans developed in other service life cycle stages into actions. The IT operations management function is split into two sub-functions: facilities management and IT operation control. IT operation control activities consist of the following activities: backup and restore of data on behalf of technical and applications team, console management, observation and monitoring of components and services, involvement in resolving incidents and problems, part of second line or higher level support, job scheduling, management of routine jobs and scripts, and print and output, collation and distribution of centralized printing or electronic output. Facility management refers to management of the physical IT environment and is often outsourced to specialist companies. It can include the following: coordination of large-scale projects such as the movement of a data center, management of the physical IT environment including data centers, computers, rooms, and recovery sites, and management of power and cooling equipment.
For as long as there have been computers and networks, IT has been responsible for the care and feeding of this infrastructure on behalf of businesses. The tools and processes that have evolved over the years to do this are collectively referred to as IT Operations Management, or ITOM. The world of ITOM is going through dramatic changes today, driven by industry trends such as mobile devices and services, cloud-based infrastructure, and agile development processes. The traditional tools and approach to managing infrastructure and applications no longer work. Existing tools don't understand the business service and what specific infrastructure components are behind the service. Without this visibility, it is very difficult for IT to understand and correct the root cause of service outages when they occur. Another challenge facing IT is that new development practices like DevOps, continuous integration, and agile development mean services are being deployed and modified faster than ever before. This speed and agility around new service delivery is a double-edged sword. Without visibility into how the service is composed, CIOs can't answer questions like, what is the true cost of providing this service? Or, does this service meet corporate guidelines for security and compliance? Rapid service delivery is great only if there is visibility and control over things like cost, quality, and compliance. To help solve these problems, ServiceNow has extended its industry-leading cloud platform to allow customers to manage infrastructure through the lens of service management. ServiceNow ITOM uses data from customer infrastructure together with information from the configuration management database to map the systems behind each business service. IT has a complete view of the business service and its technical dependencies in real time.
Okay, thank you for watching this movie. In the next movie, I will talk about the last part of this chapter, managing the technology and managing the application. Thank you.